but I didn't know what to do with it. There were no Christians in my life telling me anything about this. It was just purely me and Jesus. And I have always had this attraction. And I think in the end he caught up with me. I mean, he really wooed me. I mean, there were some real miracles in my life. I went to I was in the military in South Africa. We had to do military service very reluctantly. I also did a lot of drugs to ameliorate my anxiety.
Were you up in Angola?
I didn't get to Angola, no, thankfully. So I was in the medical corps, so I patched a lot of people up. But while we were there, I got involved with my group of friends, who were my little drug circle, and the guy who was our guru of our group became a Christian. And he started introducing Jesus into our equation. And now, I am not promoting drugs by any means, but you do have spiritual conversations.
Yeah.
And so we had some of the most amazing conversations, and Jesus began to feature. And I knew that this prevenient love that had been working in my life was coming to the fore. So I pretty much gave my heart to the Lord then. I didn't give my life to the Lord quite then. He had to do a bit of work in me first. And then we immigrated to Australia, and then somewhere in that equation, I had this most amazing encounter with God. I mean, it was a life-changing.
You want to tell me about it, or is that a private
I tell
thing?
about it in the book a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a funny story. I was living with my girlfriend at the time. I mean, not a happy life at this point. I think God had kind of brought me to a point. I know enough about Jesus and needed to become a Christian, and I certainly knew I needed to. So I was working in a retail store at the time. There was this guy who was down the road. Everyone wanted to clear out. He was a manager of the store. Everyone wanted to get out of his store because he was Bible bashing everyone. So I thought, no, I need to go there. I need to fix up my life. So he brought me to the Lord in the back of the store. And the following week, he takes me to meet his pastors. Now, you need to understand, these are more like snake handling types, right?
Oh, the Pentecostals, right?
But the wilder variety, okay?
Right.
So anyway, I mean, not my people. I come from a very bent, weird background, right? So we're finding this very socially awkward night. My girlfriend goes downstairs. I go up with the guys to play pool, and we hear this commotion going on downstairs. And they've been praying for her to receive the baptism of the Spirit, right?
Yeah.
So, well, something happened to her, So I come down and I say, "Your turn, buddy." And I just wanted to run out of there. I really did. I had to suppress that and all my politeness and all that.
In fact, when I was reading you describing this in the book, I thought, what kept you there? I mean, it was so out of your realm of experience.
It was, and I would say even there were influences in me that needed to be cast out. I mean, it was that sense. But I suppressed it, and I said, "I'll put up with this, and I'm out of here." And as these rather wild and crazy Pentecostals started praying for me, I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, I encountered God in such a profound way. It was the defining moment of my life. I still can't describe it now.
What'd you call it, an epiphany?
Again, honestly, Jim, I don't know what to call it. I mean, they would simply put the name of the baptism of the Spirit. I don't really care about that. All I know is I encountered the God of the universe.
Now, it's interesting, as you write, you live with a bit of a dynamic tension between kind of a conservative bent and a mystical, charismatic bent. And you talk about how you and your wife used to go to a conservative church in the morning and then a Pentecostal church at night. You found that the conservative church kind of fed your mind, and the Pentecostal church fed your spirit. Are you still living that kind of polarized life, or have you come to some kind of a synthesis?
I think I'm more in synthesis, but I say to my Pentecostal friends, I'm kind of on assignment. I've been sent as an undercover agent, and I think but I work mainly I think broadly within the evangelical circles and very deeply committed to the evangelical faith. I've always seen it that fire has both in it light and heat, and our job is to hold them together. It seemed to me an aberration to separate the two, and I think that so many have. And I say, like, our conservative brethren tend to kind of fear the uncontrollable nature of the Holy Spirit, and yet I feel that we are called to some degree to be ravished by Him, and to allow ourselves to be taken where He will take us. The Pentecostals could do with a little bit more, although I think things have corrected over the years, at least my experience. a bit more kind of intellectual engagement with the ideas of the faith and with the rooting in tradition. And so, I've always seen there's a bit of a role to bring that together.
In many ways, the Pentecostals were postmodern before their time.
They were.
I grew up in a Pentecostal context, and so, I know whereof I speak. And I mean, back when I was a kid, we talked about feeling the presence of the Lord, experiencing the baptism of the Holy Spirit, experiencing the work of the gifts of the Spirit. And this was all supernaturally charged, all supernaturally initiated. And, as a kid, it had a huge impact on me in terms of how I saw the world, how I see the world, And
so you're also on assignment.
That's right. And then I've always had a bit of a, some people think that I need to kiss my brains goodbye, but to me, the intellectual aspect of it, come let us reason together, deep calling unto deep, working out your salvation with fear and trembling, growing from faith to faith. To me, this is an engagement of the mind with the mind of God, and it seems to me it's not either or, it's both and.
Yes, absolutely. I would say, and I don't think I was, I think one's intelligence is within, but I honestly felt that when I was filled with the Spirit, when I came to Jesus, it was like I had my first clear thought. Yeah. And since then, my mind has been on fire. I would say if you want a sign of the baptism of the Spirit, if you call it that, I think actually your mind should turn on fire. I mean, I feel it like a burning and a desire to know, and an insatiable curiosity about life and God and people and the nature of the human being and our situation and justice, injustice. All those things ought to be of concern to anyone who's been filled with the Spirit, because the Spirit is the one who created it all in the first place.
Well, one of your favorite authors, C.S. Lewis, said that the Christian faith is a thinking person's faith, and it does engage the totality, heart, soul, mind, and strength. We got 30 seconds. Tell me about, you have a website?
Yes, the forgottenways.org is my website.
Forgottenways.org.
The Forgotten Ways. It's my centerpiece book, which is really about the nature of explosive movements, that movements that really go into kind of hyperbolic growth, and what factors come together to create that. So that's my, the centerpiece. The name of the book is The Forgotten Ways, and then the website it's got all the information about the other
What's your
books
next book going to be about?
I've got 5 books, 4 books coming out next year.
Really?
Yeah. The next one, though, is called Right Here, Right Now, which is about a mission for everyday people. I'm writing one called On the Verge, which is about apostolic movements from mega churches, kind of helping us become missional movements, helping really, really large systems to do that. And I've got one on theology of adventure and risk and its implications for mission and discipleship and church. And the final one is about Ephesians 4.
Well, there you go. Alan Hirsch is the author's name, friends. Here's the book again, Untamed. Reactivating a missional form of discipleship. It's very, very challenging reading, and I would encourage you to get a copy and look for Alan Hirsch as he releases other books. Thanks for coming our way.
Thanks very much, Jim. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure.